Hi guys. So I'm hoping that you guys can hear me fairly clearly. I don't have the microphone like I used to, and one of the other things is this is definitely we haven't been recording a lot of them live per se. A lot of them have been recorded, but this is one of the newer workshops. I can't wait to encourage you guys to come in and do them in house and engage with you in all this. Thank you first for being here. I mean, this is precious time. I appreciate you taking the 30 minutes to be here and learn. It's very, very important that I respect your time, and we've already gone 1 minute into this, and we're going to be here for 30 minutes. So time is constantly racing, and I ask of you, the only person that I know of that ever says that they've already heard this or don't learn something from sitting down and listening to something is someone that always goes in with that mindset that they already know it, or they've heard it, or they're just not open-minded. All I'm asking of you is please be open-minded. My hope is that there's growth, and your heart is open, and we want to talk about what's killing us, and we're talking about pain management. We're going to go into a little bit of the numbers and things of pain management, but ultimately we have to look at ourselves first and think about what's in your what's in your medicine cabinet, what's in there, what is it that you do? Because if you really truly want to find an individual and how they are addressing things and how they are looking at things, you look at their bank book or their checkbook, if they're that open with you, and see what they're spending their monies on. It really is an eye opener as to what is important in a person's life and what's a priority. So you think about it, and you think about the things that you're doing. What is in your medicine cabinet? So, for example, what's in our medicine cabinet? It's not really a medicine cabinet. We have in our house, we have no specific medicines, prescription meds, or anything of that nature. I'm not saying that there's never a time and place for those types of things. What I'm saying is you have to understand that there's a different way to lead your life. Over the past 5 or 6 weeks, I've sort of changed the way I've been eating and been looking at that. And I realized that, I have to change the way I look at things. So I opened up my drawers. I looked inside my closets. I looked inside and looked at what foods do I have in there? What do I have that may be harming me? What are the things that we have? You have to look. So in my medicine cabinet, usually there is and I don't call it a medicine cabinet, it should be a supplement cabinet. I have supplements, vitamin supplements, I have some essential oils. Those are the types of things that you would see in our household because of the way we're addressing these things. So we put we put a lot of stock into what's in there, and what we are giving access to in our lives, on how these things will actually start to control our lives and start to take care of them. So those are things that we have to address, and those are the things that we have to look at, and think about it, and think about it. Here's a number for you, and I'm going to read this one. It's estimated that 81% of parents are giving OTC, or over-the-counter drugs, to even minor ailments to their children, and certainly with themselves. 7 out of 10 parents are giving drugs to their kids during the night. How do you think, in the midst of that difficulty, how do you think that's going to help teach our children where to go next? I mean, they go to middle school, or they go to high school, and then they think, oh well, if I want to take care of something, let me just take a drug. And it doesn't matter whether it's prescribed or over the counter. Okay, they're going to say, hey, this made me feel better, let me do this, let me experiment with this. So we need to really look at what we're teaching our children and help them understand and live that example for them. So what really is in the drug chest or the medicine cabinet, or the things that are going into your house. Let me ask you a question. What is it that you do when it's not going your way, or it's not something the way you want it? That's a tough question. We need to understand that we need to reflect upon ourselves. And if we don't like what somebody is saying to us, or we don't agree with them, we may want to just sit down and reflect upon, maybe we should have a conversation about this. There's a lot of things going on right now, and I'm not even going to touch on all the comments about COVID and vaccinations and things of that nature. But understand that it ultimately comes down to understanding the other and having respect and really experiencing where they are, or experiencing where they're coming from. Because if you really want to engage with someone, if you want to embrace them, you want to be with them at all times, you have to recognize that, hey, they're not you. So that question comes back, okay? What is it you do when someone doesn't agree with you? What is it that it's not the way you like it? What is it do you get angry? How do you respond to these things? So a person has an ache in their head. Do you give them medication, or do you say, hey, did you drink enough water today? Because sometimes it could be from dehydration. Is it a failure to have enough electrolytes in the system because they were working out? Did they drink the night before? Did they are they not eating the proper foods? Maybe they're allergic to a food. But what are we doing? We're taking the medication and we're masking the issue. Okay, I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I have a heel compression fracture in my neck. Both shoulders have been partially dislocated, and both of them have also been dislocated completely at one point or time in my life. And my surgeries in my knee, when I was in my early 20s, I played walk-on football in Division III school. I was an engineering major, and they would just give me medication, say, hey, here, take this and go play. And I would feel great. But does feeling great mean you're healthy? You got to think about that, because I felt great. And then in my mid-20s, I had to have 3 different knee surgeries. And my knees are not happy for it now. Although I still bike, I still walk and sort of try to jog on the treadmill, but very slowly, not quickly. Still work out, still try to keep myself in shape, because I understand that those things are a way for my body to know that, hey, we're alive. They're actually saying one of the signs of life now is experiencing discomfort, because if you don't experience any discomfort, or you don't know anything that's going on in your body, usually you're not in good shape. Okay, usually you're not in good shape. So my job as a doctor of chiropractic is that pain, I have to recognize it, but I'm not treating the pain per se. Okay, we weren't created in the eyes of perfection for whatever reason. I mean, we are created in the eyes of perfection, and we weren't created, stupidly. I mean, our bodies were made to be very intelligent. Our brains are programmed to be healthy when we're born, right? So, and if it wasn't, we'd pass away, we wouldn't survive. So our body is doing something to let us know that we are alive, and that something has to be done or changed, right? So, having said that, the purpose of pain. 1, pain communicate what's happening in the body. That's what I was just talking about. So, it can indicate progression, as in labor, right? Talking about an individual that's pregnant. I have 2 young girls. Well, they're not so young anymore. One just turned 21. Totally blows my mind that she's 21 years old, junior in college. But I was there at both births. Both births were natural. Both births were done with midwives. One was done up here in New Hampshire, one down in New York. And labor pain, I mean, if you've been involved, I mean, my wife squashed my hand. I thought my hand was going to break when she was going through a contraction. I mean, it's there for a reason, okay? And why would you want to diminish the discomfort that's going on if it's letting you know that something appropriate is happening? So we can have some discomfort to pain. It's like going to work out, okay? You work out, your muscles get sore, things of that nature. Those muscles are attached to, they're attached to the spine, okay? So is it more sore in one place than the other? Were you imbalanced when you were working out? It's letting you know what's going on, okay? It's letting you know. But this is an important one because this is the birthing process. You think that we were created, not, our bodies, power that made the body heals the body. You think we weren't created with health? So those are the things that you have to address. So what else does it does? It alerts us to an injury and illness, right? And only about there's different studies, there's different ways to look at it, but the estimates are somewhere about 10% of the nervous system actually has pain receptors that we perceive pain. If you think about it, if our full nervous system, if everything in the nerves felt pain, right? If every receptor felt pain, you'd put your clothes on in the morning, it would hurt. And there are some people that have neuralgia and neuropathy and things of that nature, and it feels like that. And we treat the pain. But once the pain is gone, we dismiss it. And as a doctor, that's not a good thing, because that's when we can really start working on what was the underlying problem and what caused the issue, okay? Because going back to a normal for you is not necessarily what is normal, okay? A lot of people are talking right now, I can't wait to get things back to normal. And I always turn around and I say, that's what got us in trouble in the first place. We have to rethink. It's not a new normal. It's not things, there are norms that we have in our spine and in our structure that we need to keep in order for our bodies to be at ultimate operating levels. So this is a big one. Can dissuade us from actions that lead to even more painful situations. So, there was a study done a while ago now. It wasn't too long ago, but it was done by, I think the gentleman's name is Kinsey down in Duke. And he said the number one cause of death in our country right now are poor choices and poor decisions. If you want to be rude about it, you can say stupid choices. Okay? And one of the things is that when you're in discomfort and pain, it's a catch-22. Someone who has arthritic pain, like my mom did, God bless her, passed away last August. She had a lot of pain, so she had trouble walking. She had trouble doing this stuff. And if I could have encouraged her just to do a few minutes of activity a day, I think it would have helped her be healthier. My knee on my right side is pretty much close to bone on bone, if not bone on bone. And I still walk and run. And people ask me all the time, how do you do that? I go, it's a driving force. Because I don't want it to get worse. Okay, and I know that it's there because it tells me, okay, and in the morning, sometimes it's stiff, sometimes. But the thing is, when we get dissuaded from that, we then start falling down a rabbit hole of oh, I can't do this, it hurts too much. And then if it hurts too much, you start gaining weight. And then it gets worse. And then it builds a whole cycle. And you really have to talk to yourself about it and say, okay, how can I help to alleviate this? And movement is so important in our health. Okay, it helps to drive serotonin levels in our body to the normal levels. It helps to, you need to move. It helps with certain digestive forms of leptin and things of that nature help us lose weight, so we don't feel those hunger pains. So it's important to drive that. So, what's your first reflex? You're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, what's your first reflex? Is it to curse the person, or is it, wow, I wonder if everything is okay, or if something is going on? You get pulled over by a cop. What's your first reaction? Oh, crap. Okay. Or is it, hey, he's doing his job. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's nothing serious. And then they walk over, and maybe they were having a bad day. If they're having a bad day, step back. And a lot of people right now, with all the things that have been going on, policemen are not always respected. Okay. And my brother was a policeman. There is a balance of things that we have to do that have been going on out there. And whatever your side of the story is, hey, let's have conversation about it. Let's not yell and scream at each other. One of the things behind these electronics, we can hide, and we don't have the open conversation. So these are important aspects of things to look at, right? So if we look at the prevalence of pain in the United States, and this is huge, right? 116 million people on estimate, more than 30% of Americans are living with some form of chronic or severe pain. That's not acceptable in my book. There's something wrong with that picture. We have to look at our health in a different way. That's what it comes down to. This outweighs combined diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Combined. Okay, if you look at it, diabetes is 30.3, heart disease is 25.4, cancer is 14.7. So you're talking about 15, 40, 70 million. I mean, it's like 49 to 50 million people more are living in chronic pain. And then you add these 70 million here. So what does that come to? 70 million, that's 186 million people. That's 50-60% of our society is in chronic either discomfort or has some sort of disease or illness that's chronic. We are a petri dish in this country for any virus, for any bacteria, for anything that comes along. Why? Because we are so unhealthy. We're unhealthy. We're not healthy as a nation. And it's up to you to make a difference and choose to change those things. So why do we have to look at this? Pain is there for a reason. But once you treat the pain and get rid of the pain, it doesn't mean the problem is gone. You need to address this. You need to let people know. What do we do here in the chiropractic office? Yeah, we adjust you. People feel better. Okay, people feel better. People do respond very well to the care that we give them. Okay? But it's not over, okay? Because it keeps coming. It keeps going, right? So these are characteristics of pain. Oops. Let me go back. Sorry. Why did it do that? Okay? And there's differences between acute versus chronic pain. Acute pain is usually known. It's something that happens, and it's from onset to about 6 weeks, and it lasts maybe, it maybe lasts 6 weeks. And chronic pain usually persists for more than 3 months, okay? Sometimes, however, you look at a subluxation. So this is a prime example of a subluxation. You don't feel a subluxation when you get it, unless it's a trauma. Obviously, then you have an acute, okay? It can sit there, interfere with the nervous system by 60% just by the weight of a quarter, okay? Proven many years ago, 3.5 hours of a quarter lying on the nerve, proven by Chung Ha Su, can interfere with the nerve supply by 60%. So what does that have to do with pain? Nothing. Okay, left alone over time, it starts to degenerate. The subluxation degenerates and turns into arthritis and turns into degenerative disc disease and it turns into all these things that we specifically have. But what if you started at the beginning and learned how to take care of it from the very beginning and kept your segments clear, kept your nervous system clear, kept your bones clear, helped the muscles be more balanced. Okay, these are the things that we look at. You know, duration of acute pain is short. The treatment, resolution of the discomfort, usually self-limiting. A lot of people that get a problem, usually it's self-limiting. Now with my knees, obviously it wasn't self-limiting because I had the surgeries. It was short. I didn't have any more discomfort, and now I have the discomforts. Underlying cause of pain and disorder, outcome usually not sure. Is there a cure? We don't know. Okay, so those are the things that you come. But with a lot of people that have chronic pain, one of the issues is with chronic pain is it's debilitating for people. It takes a toll on your life. But more importantly, look, I want to point this out, okay? Structural changes happen to the brain when you have chronic discomfort. So, for example, if you see this is actually a spinal cord, okay? It's not the bones. The bones go around this. So let me, oh, here, this is good because this is big. So if you look at this in here, you see the hole that's in here, okay? That's where this whole big piece goes. It goes right in here. This is the spinal cord, right? And then the nerves come out through the sides here. That's what these are, okay? There's two different parts of the spinal cord. There's the white matter, which is the myelinated sheath. So if you've ever heard of multiple sclerosis, the myelin gets sclerotic or hardens, and it's usually in the white matter. Okay, but you let us know if you go in the middle. The middle is the gray matter, right? So that's in the spinal cord. Okay, when you come up into the brain, if you think like a fountain, what happens is this comes up like this. And if you think of the gray matter sort of like a fountain, then the gray matter is on the outside of the skull. Okay, not the skull, the brain. And the white matter is more inside. Okay, so it actually switches when it comes up here. Why is that important to understand? Well, if we change and we lose gray matter, we're forced to make poor decisions, or we're more cloudy or in a haze or exhausted or lethargic. Frontal lobe, right? Changes in the hippocampus regulate learning and memory, so you might not be able to learn as well. Okay, so as we get older, people are like, oh, I'm just old. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's because of the chronic pain you've had for years. Neural pathways of feedback and loops of physical pain and negative thoughts. So what happens is you get these, it's sort of like I was talking about earlier, where you get this loop or feedback, and it becomes very negative in its process, and it takes challenges because it may slow your heart rate, your respiration may become soft and shallow, your skin becomes pale, you have brittleness to your hair, you start getting, this kyphotic curvature in your back, and it's been shown that people that have backs like this have worse health. Emotional components are huge in these things, and each day becomes a challenge. So how do you get people to understand what's going on in there? What can they do? One of the first things is move. Like I said, you have to get movement into it, and it takes a long time. If you think about the decades that it took of the chronic pain, think it's going to go overnight? It's not going to go away overnight. This is so important to understand, and here are the pictures, and I'll explain what's going on here. So the gray matter, this is the brain. The gray matter is on the outside, and in here you can see that it's on the that it comes through the spine. Okay. But this is where the gray matter is, and the white matter is on the inside. Right? So normal whole brain gray matter atrophy, so that means it gets smaller, is 0.5% per year of aging. Okay, so that means that every year we lose a little bit of gray matter anyway, and can begin as early as age 20. Okay, so We do another workshop on the fountain of life, and we talk a little bit more about this. People with chronic back pain exhibit 5 to 11% atrophy of gray matter. 5 to 11%. 5%. So we've got 0.5%. That's 100% more decay. And what would happen in 10 to 20 years here is accomplished in a year here with chronic pain. So it's very important that you're addressing this, because your learning slows down, your thinking slows down. And what do you need to do, much like just what we need to do in this whole crisis that's going on now, is you need to stop and strengthen yourself. The first thing you have to do when someone is in pain is you have to stop. You have to be present for them. You have to listen to them, because sometimes that's all they want to hear. And that alone can change a person's attitude, just by being available for them. Once you understand part of that, the next step is to raise your immune function. A lot of immunological studies have shown that trying to kill the germs is futile. I mean, we were just talking about it today. I think like there's 98% of the bacteria in our body are good bacteria. 90+% of the viruses out there are actually good viruses. They're helping us with things. But we're so focused on the 1 or 2, and we're trying to kill that really is not going to help you heal. The challenge is making sure that you are healthier. What are the things that you're doing? What choices are you making to keep yourself healthier? So let's go back to what I started with. Okay, who's responsible for that? You are. Okay, we actually have this poster up in our office. Look well to the spine for the cause of disease. Hippocrates actually wrote that many years ago in Greek. Many times what they used to do is they would lay mud on people while they were laying face down, and they would see where the dry spots were, and that extra heat would indicate that there was a problem in their body at that time. Inflammation. It sort of makes sense. But you can't manage pain as well as you can strengthen the host. You need to start making good choices about what you do with your life. Get up and walk a few steps today. Make sure you're taking deep breaths. Not these shallow, I'm out of breath. Okay, so then work on exercising yourself. When in December, when I was diagnosed with COVID and I recovered, one of the things that truly helped, and I was in the hospital for one night, and they were actually surprised because I went into the hospital and my oxygen saturations were somewhere in the 80s. And they were like, "You're not tired? You're not dizzy? You don't have any aches?" I go, "Yeah, I'm a little tired, but I didn't really have a fever. I had a very low-grade fever." And they gave me some oxygen. And by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was fine, but they kept me overnight for observation, and the next day I was out. And I truly believe one of the reasons for that is because of all the things that I did beforehand to try to keep myself healthy. And one of the things that I did, even when I was diagnosed, I would get on my bicycle, and it was hard, 5 to 10 minutes a day, just to keep my lungs moving. Why? So I wouldn't get pneumonia. You can choose to do these things. And you can say, "Hey, I can get up and do something about it," or I can sit on my butt and not do anything. But you can get up. Maybe you can't walk up and down the stairs because your knees hurt, like mine do. It hurts. But you can walk out to the mailbox and walk back. Little things at a time. I sit on an exercise ball chair so I can bounce and do exercises now. Okay? Little things at a time. changes in your diet, your taste buds change. Things change, but you've got to make the choices. You've got to make those things. Anti-inflammatory foods, come back and watch these workshops that we have. We have reducing inflammation through proper diet. We have the one on eating to your blood type. We have one on tech neck, or sitting properly. All of these things add up, and every little thing that you do throughout the day makes a difference. I love and appreciate you guys, and I want you to spread the word. We're down here on Loudon Road now. Let people know. Let people know that we are in the process of working on helping our community get better. Refer them in. Let them get checked. Does it mean they need to be here? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, but it doesn't hurt to get checked. Thank you all for being here. You guys have a great night, and hopefully I'll get some great feedback on this.